Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Between the Stitches. As always, I am your host, Brady Wilson, with my co-host, Chase Olschwinger.
Good afternoon.
It is a good afternoon. It's a really good afternoon, actually, for just a lot of sports fans. There's been a lot of happenings in sports over the past week. I'm happy to say that we are able to bring an episode this week. Moving forward, it'll just depend on whether I'm up here, he's up here. So I wouldn't expect one until the week after Christmas, probably. So maybe a 2-week hiatus from the show. I know. I can hear the cries of sorrow from all of our adoring fans, Chase.
I'm crying.
I am too. But I will quickly not be crying because of all the wonderful action in sports. So as usual, we're going to start with the Dallas Stars, who are still plugging away. I mean, we're trying to see their latest game. Where are we on the schedule? They just beat Calgary on Sunday. They had a 3-day break until they play Nashville tomorrow at home. This is a really big home stretch, actually. You got 6 straight home games.
Good. Take advantage of it.
You got Calgary, who you beat, then Nashville, St. Louis, Washington, Toronto, and then New York. Rangers, not Islanders. So I forget I have to preface that for hockey. I mean, they're still plugging away. I mean, they are. They're third in the Central Division at 17-10. So, I mean, yeah.
Just keep battling. I mean, they're going through a little bit of adversity right now.
Yeah.
Just continue
with the Sagan injury. And on that news, just real quick, the Dallas Stars, according to NHL insider Jeff Merrick, the Stars are going to, quote, be big game hunting with Sagan out 4 to 6 months. Because, the cap space and all that, you actually have space to make a big move. Yeah. So definitely, like we were talking about last week, will Jim Nill make a signing? I think it definitely seems like, not only going to make a trade, we may make a big trade.
Right.
So I don't know who that would be for. I don't know hockey as much as I would know, baseball or football, or you would know basketball. But we'll get Zach in here after we come back from break to kind of give us some names who we could be looking at.
Yeah.
And then the Mavericks, their AAC counterpart, are on a roll. I mean, they have been killing it. I think they lost yesterday against OKC, who seems to be the team that's going to be our biggest, what's the next, decade. But yeah, you feel really good about where this Mavs team has been playing. So, Chase, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, last night they did lose in the, well, not that I care much about it, the NBA Cup, so they are officially eliminated from that. But, I couldn't really care less, as a fan perspective. I know the players are playing for incentives and stuff like that, but as a fan, they get 9 days off of rest now. They don't play till the 19th, and that's, or I guess 8 days, whatever. They get a lot of time off, and as a fan, when you're on a 7-game win streak, 6-game win streak, whatever it was, winning 11 out of your last 13, hopefully you can afford a loss, and hopefully this doesn't come back to bite you later. And now you just get healthy. And last night they did play in OKC. They could not have played a worse game. And I don't remember exactly what the score was when it finished. I think I might have stopped watching in the last 20 seconds. But they didn't play good at all. They turned the ball over. Luka didn't play well. Nobody really stepped up, and PJ was injured. And they still lost by less than 15, I believe. Maybe 10 was what it was. So I still like the fight that I saw going into OKC and, depleted. So I like the fight, and you don't move on. But you know what? As a fan, like I said, I don't really care as much. I'm happy that they get 8 days off and get to get everyone healthy and then continue hopefully where they left off and getting some more wins.
Yeah, they have just been killing it lately. Yeah. And that's definitely what you want to see from this team, like you talked about the fight. As we move forward through December, obviously on Christmas Day being a big, big NBA day, and then we move towards the start of the year. So
yeah, the Mavs do have a Christmas game, so that'll be nice.
Who are we playing?
Minnesota.
There you go.
Hosting them. Western Conference Finals rematch, so that'll be a good one.
That's fun. Well, I hate to kind of breeze past hockey and basketball, but I mean baseball and football been on fire.
Yeah.
When you look at what the winter meetings are supposed to be, this is because last year winter meetings were nothing because everyone was still deadlocked on Ohtani because he signed a lot later. I like what Soto did, saying I'm going to sign at the winter meetings, and then it is just kicked. As you've noticed, once there's when you have a year where there's that generational free agent. We've seen this last year. We saw it with Harper and Machado. Once they sign, that well breaks.
Yeah.
That dam breaks. I don't know that well. That dam is what I'm thinking.
Right.
The dam breaks, and it's just a massive flood of moves, which we've seen. But first, we got to talk about what the Rangers have been doing. The big one obviously broke it all. Everyone was mad last night when you're a Rangers fan because Max Fried signed 7 years, $218 to the Yankees.
8 years.
8 years?
It was 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years, $218. Thank you, Chase. Because the Yankees like to have that extra year to just kind of draw out that AAV. So now they, I think, fixed what their biggest issue in the playoffs was, which they didn't have that guy in Game 2 that you felt like if Cole struggled or if the offense didn't come through, you've got another horse to go in Game 2.
Right.
Now you've got Cole and Fried. That's a hell of a 1-2 punch in the playoffs, which, as I've always said, you got to have the 1-2 punch. And then you've got Gill, Schmidt, Rodon in the reserve rotation. And then if you bring back, is Nestor a free agent? I think he is.
I'm not sure, but I don't know about the situation with Marcus Stroman either. Not that he had the greatest year, but he's still a guy that can, can give you 5 solid innings. So
yeah, maybe they move Schmidt to the bullpen. Maybe they move, ironically, maybe they move Gill to the bullpen. Maybe they move Rodon, who struggled in the rotation before, to the bullpen. We'll just have to see. But the Rangers were reportedly in on him. Apparently, our offer was $7,190. So less years, less total money, but it's actually a higher AAV, just ever so slightly. Slightly less AAV, I think is what it was. It was like $110,000 more to go to the Yankees a year. Whatever.
I guess he just wanted to be in the pinstripes.
And then, of course, there was the sadness over the draft lottery, having the potential 8th pick. Maybe we can go a little bit higher, and then falling to 12, which once I saw St. Louis and the Mariners were, because remember, it's once you get past, because what they do, and it hadn't been explained properly, I guess. They do the lottery only for the 6 picks. So the first 6 picks, they do the lottery balls and all that. Then the rest of the picks is reverse order, which is why the Marlins had the 7th pick, because they missed out on the lottery. So they were the second worst team last year. Well, because we knew the A's and the White Sox couldn't get anywhere past the top 10, right? And then also there were 2 teams well below the Rangers in St. Louis and the Mariners. Once they kind of got past, it's one of those, if you're one of those fans, you should have realized once you got past a certain team, they're in the lottery, because it would have been in reverse order. And you're like, oh, which is why we're at 12, because we wouldn't have been, but because the White Sox and the A's have to be at 10 and 11, it just kind of leaves us with a bad situation. Right. I'm not stressing about it. It's still the 12th overall pick. That's still a pretty high draft pick, especially when it comes to baseball. You never know. You just never know. The draft in baseball is a lot more of a crapshoot than it is in any other sport. So Rangers fans were feeling like, man, we missed out on a lottery pick. His last time it worked out really well for us, getting White Langford.
Yeah.
But we missed out on that. We missed out on Fried. Gosh, what are we doing? What is Chris Young doing? And of course, you get all the Ranger, and I do the air quote here, fans who are no longer, for some reason, think Chris Young's a bad GM. And then it breaks that the Rangers have signed Nathan Eovaldi, 3 years, $75 million.
I'll be the first one to say it. It is an overpay.
No, I actually don't think the AAV is an overpay. The 3rd year is the potential overpay.
Because he's 35?
Yeah, he's like 34, 35. Yeah. So, I mean, you're probably going to get 1 to maybe hopefully 2 years of his production left, and then maybe that 3rd year is probably just, a wash year. But it's more just to try to get him for this year and next year, I think, really. And I love it. I mean, scratch what he did for us in the regular season, scratch what he did for the playoffs. What he's done as a veteran leader on this team, if you watch any of the spring training videos, almost every young pitcher says, well, the best veteran leader here is Eovaldi. He's the guy that's taught me so much, and you don't want to lose a guy like that, especially when you are probably going to have maybe a bit, not saying a bit younger, but you have guys like Langford and Carter, and then on the pitching staff, Leiter and Rocker and Bradford. Having these young guys, you need to have that, the veteran to the old pro, as my dad would say, to be on the staff and just, help guide them through this journey. And so I think for that reason, for the fan, he's, obviously a big fan favorite. Nasty Nate is somebody the fans all love for what he did for the playoffs. I really think you couldn't let him go just for morale reasons.
I think they had to
he's
offer
back.
that third year just to get him back.
Yeah,
So.
he's back. Makes us happy. And then kind of the big shocker was the one that, completely flew out of left field. Nobody saw this one, right? In fact, I don't even think you texted me this one. I don't think any of us really knew until we just got on Twitter and just because I think
Did
it's.
I text you that? I don't know.
I know you texted me the Eovaldi one.
Well,
There was one that you missed
Let's
on
see.
me.
No, I texted you.
You did?
Yes. I sent you the Rangers are acquired.
That's right. I saw that and I went, "Oh, who'd we sign?" I didn't even open the article. I went, "Who'd we sign?" I mean, go to Twitter. Oh, we traded.
Yeah. I don't know anything.
It was Eovaldi. You didn't text me.
Yeah, because you texted me it.
Yeah. Yep. Because I got on and I saw it and I just went, "Oh yes." I actually think my dad broke that one to me.
Yeah.
But Jake Berger is now a Texas Ranger.
It's a great signing.
It's the weird trade. It was definitely one I was not expecting.
I also don't know much about the prospects we gave up. I don't know.
Okay, so that'll be my job here. You give up 3 prospects. So let's detail Berger first. Let's see what are you getting in return. Actually, no, I'll give what we gave. So we gave Brian Mendoza, who's a really, really young pitcher, one of those in 6 years you could be going, how the hell do we trade this guy? Or you could be going, who?
Yeah.
He'll be the guy that, the throw in. He's just a really, really, really young pitcher, but had a really, really good season. And some people were thinking, hey, maybe he rises. Maybe he's, maybe you got something here. So, but before he really builds much momentum in our system, we trade him. Max Acosta, former pretty top prospect. I know he got into the top 10, but he's slowly just kind of fallen out, but he's an infielder. Don't have a spot for him.
Right.
And then when your top prospect, Sebastian Walcott, there's really not a spot for him. He was on our 40-man. And so I think that was we needed to give a 40-man guy to get Berger so we didn't have to try to, DFA somebody. One of those, he's good, but he probably projects as he projects as kind of what we thought Josh Smith might end up being. Glove first, utility man with a decent bat. And then you've got the headliner is definitely Echedry. I think it's Echedry. It's Echedry. So I think it's Echedry. Echedry Vargas. He's the headliner. He is in our top. I think he's number 17 on MLB.com. So he's the headliner prospect. MLB.com projects him as a slugging utility man. So, again, in 4 years, oh my gosh, how could you trade this guy? In 4 years, who is that guy? That is kind of where this trade is. But what you get in return is, so now we've detailed that. You gave up a former top prospect who's no longer in your top 30, a guy that is in the middle of your top 30, and then a super, super young pitcher that has just started to get momentum in your system. For a guy that hit 29 home runs last year. Now, of course, we know he's not a wizard with the glove, but I think this is important. He can play first. He can also play third. He is. I don't know where people started saying he could be an outfielder. Someone tried to say, well, he could be a corner outfielder. No.
He's actually a bigger guy, but I've seen him run the bases, and he's got some speed.
He is probably going to be a corner infielder for you. Yeah. Maybe you could try him at second base because he played third, but he's going to be a corner infielder who
Marcus won't let him play second base
and DH and DH.
Yeah,
right. Well, Marcus didn't play second base every game this year, unfortunately. He missed a few games.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But so the deal with Berger is he's going to be your corner infielder, DH. I think the interesting one is, okay, so now I'm interested because, well, you have a first baseman and you have a third baseman. And you have Josh Young, who's a Silver Slugger, Gold Glove caliber player when he's healthy. Please, dear God, can we get it, please?
Yeah.
Please.
No unlucky injuries.
Please. I'm asking. And then you've got a guy that has won a Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger in his career, Nathaniel Lowe. And people like to disparage Lowe. Oh, well, he's a first baseman with no pop. I really hate, one of the few old baseball things that I hate is the traditionalism with positions. Well, your first baseman's got to be your slugger. Well, why? Why does your first baseman have to be your slugger? I present to you Mark Grace, who did not hit home runs, who was a great, fantastic player in the, don't want to get his era wrong. I know he's on the 0-1 Diamondbacks, try to give you an idea of where he was. But I show you Mark Grace, who in a 16-year career had 173 career home runs. But he's a 300 average and had 2,400 hits. Like, he has a near 50 career WAR. He's a great player.
People just think of, Mark McGwire and Pete Alonso and Ryan Howard and Bryce Harper.
And I hate that crap because, hell, the Diamondbacks won with Mark Grace at first base in the 0-1 World Series. You don't have to have a 40 home run guy at first base when you have Adolis Garcia, Corey Seager, Josh Young, Marcus Semien, Wyatt Langford. You don't have to have Nathaniel Lowe hitting 30 home runs, 40 home runs, right?
I can see where people are coming from, and even myself.
I don't.
Even myself. No, I'm not talking about as a 40 home run hitter. I'm talking about just disappointment with Lowe in general.
He had a down year this year.
He had a down year, and he's not going to give you power. And his defense was a little down this year compared to his Gold Glove year, obviously.
My problem with the disparaging Lowe thing is, well, so did Adolis had a bad year. You want to get rid of him? Do you want to get rid of Jonah Heim? You want to get rid of everybody that just has a down year?
Right.
He had a down year. He's shown you that he can be great. Won a World Series with him. But I'm not mad if they do trade him, because I think if you are looking at a team that maybe has a middle of the rotation arm they're trying to get rid of, and they need a first baseman, just do a swap, right? And then Berger's your everyday first baseman, right? I don't know. You don't make this. Some people have said, well, maybe they're just trying to acquire more depth. I'm like, well, Jake Berger's on a depth piece.
Right, he plays every day.
He's not a guy that you can just put into the lineup whenever you feel like it, and he's a bench player. That's Ezekiel Duran is a bench player. He's a bench power bat who may hit 15 home runs in a season, but he plays in 85 games. You know what I mean? Something like that,
right.
Where he's he can play every couple days. So it makes me question, because right now, if you ask me, Brady, who's your starting lineup, it's probably Adolis in right, Carter in center, Langford in left, unless you want to swap Langford and Carter. Low at first. You've got Semien, Seager, Young, Heim catching, and Berger DHing. And I'm trying to think of, is there a person I'm forgetting? Right now, he's probably your everyday DH.
You could move Berger to first and Higashioka as your DH.
What about Josh Smith, though? I'd say I'm forgetting Josh Smith. You got to find a spot for him unless you trade him.
I think there has to be another trade. I do, just because with the value of the guys that we have that aren't going to be playing every day and the depth that we have, I do think that, making a trade here and getting someone that is going to be an everyday player that you can rely on to hit, maybe 30, 40 bombs. And, if you want to, I don't know, there's, Pete Alonso's out there, Christian Walker's out there.
Yeah, but see, they're not there. You don't trade for Jake Berger, then go sign another first baseman.
No, but you DH one. You just.
But you got where you playing Smith? Silver Slugger.
You give Seager some time. I don't know.
You can't just sit.
That's the problem. I don't dislike the situation that we're in.
It's a good problem to have.
Right.
As my dad always said, it's a great problem to have. To have too many good players.
It's a good problem to have, but the team needs to be. I think the team needs another player on this roster to really bump them up to the next level with how much better a lot of these teams, not only in the American League, but if you were to make it all the way to the World Series, right, you have to face that Dodgers team or Mets team. And do you have enough pop? Do you have enough pop? I'm going to say this right now, and we'll get into the Soto signing. The Mets strike zero fear in me right now. Zero fear. I ain't afraid of them. As their team currently stands, I ain't afraid of them. Now, when they go sign some people, and I'll explain this in the Soto signing, then I am scared. But right now, they strike no fear in me. Okay. Zero. And I'm going to ask a question, and then I'll answer that question for you when we get there. And that would be, in a 7-game series, who's starting game 1? So, moving back to the Rangers right now, I'm okay with whatever they do, but I'm expecting another move, because right now you've got 10 really good hitters. Yeah. And unfortunately, baseball only allows you to play 9 of them. So the good news is that a lot of them, though, can play multiple positions, right?
Smith can play almost anywhere except catcher and probably maybe center field.
I think he could play anywhere in the field. I was thinking more first, but
Even then, I think he could play first. I think the whole we have to be tall to play first is kind of going away. He could figure it out. He's good everywhere else. Why would he be bad there? Obviously, Seager, Simeon, and Young. Unfortunately, your 4 starting primary infielders, you kind of feel like are there and there to stay. They're not going to learn anything else. Maybe you teach Young first base, but he's such a good third baseman. I don't really want to. And then you have guys that can win Gold Gloves in almost every position right now, which is a great problem to have. I'm not saying it's not, but you got to find a spot for Berger, and you've got to find. It comes down to 3 players, and you're going to keep 2 of them. Well, you've got Berger, so okay, now that fills one of the spots. So the other 2 spots, the other 2 players for one spot is Josh Smith and Nathaniel Lowe. And if you're asking me who I'd rather have Josh Smith right now, based off of what we saw last season. If he can, now I'm hoping he's not 1-year wonder, but the fact that he can play multiple positions and play multiple positions well, that is where I'm leaning. I'm leaning Josh Smith.
Just more position flexibility.
Yes. And Berger's probably your everyday first baseman, and Smith's your DH, and then you rotate Hyman and Higgy. That's where I'm at, but we'll see what happens when we get. I mean, that's the thing is, it's easy to try to pencil these guys in now, and then what was it? By the Tampa Bay Rays series, Josh Young was out for most of the year.
Right, and I'm not even mad if we don't do anything. I mean, I like the team state right now.
Right.
I just personally think that they need to trade one of these guys and get a better piece.
Well, right now, your starting primary center fielder the last couple years is your 4th outfielder, in Leody Taveras. Well, are you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about Leody.
Are you moving him for a is he going to want to play every day? Are you going to have to explain to him you're not really an everyday player for a championship caliber team? He's a center fielder on an average. He's a starting caliber player on an average team, or one of the best 4th outfielders you could find on a championship team. He's got a little pop. Every now and then he'll hit one. You're like, oh wow, that one went really far. Like that one in Philadelphia. That was the Berger thing was very surprising, just because we were rumored to be looking for another bat. Just
really good signing.
I think we were expecting a signing, and I think a lot of Rangers fans were expecting Jock Peterson, but I actually prefer the infielder, just to try to give you somebody there. But I do expect another trade to happen. And with our luck, it'll happen about 20 minutes after we get done with this episode.
Right.
And then the other thing, the Rangers. Oh, I don't think, did we talk about Kyle Higashioka last episode? Had it happened yet? If we hadn't,
I think it did.
If we didn't, the Rangers signed Kyle Higashioka to a 2-year.
We did.
2-year deal. Okay. Yeah. Well, if we didn't announce it and you didn't hear it last week, Higashioka is now a Ranger. So now you've got two really good catchers who you feel pretty good, whichever one's in the lineup. Yeah. Hey, he'll be a hell of a lot better than Andrew Kisner. I think I can guarantee that one. The other thing that actually broke just maybe an hour and a half ago, was Jacob Webb signed with the Texas Rangers. And, of course,
the Rangers BP pitcher.
Ranger fans, I think it's funny that immediately Ranger fans, instead of being like, oh, that's a good signing because he had a good year last year.
No, I'm happy with it. Every time I hear his name, I just think about the ALDS game.
No, it was funny because instead of being like, oh, here's a guy that has been in the league for a while but was 3.02 ERA last year. Sorry, my voice. It's allergies, man. 56 and 2/3 innings. I mean, ERA plus of 125, a 1.182 WHIP. I mean, this guy.
No, that's good. That's great numbers.
This guy has been really good, and he actually had a good 23. He was really good for the Orioles. He was a deadline acquisition. But guess what?
In the playoffs.
Then he gets to the playoffs, and Josh Young, the deciding home run in Game 1, and then the grand slam in Game 2 to Garver. So, of course, every Rangers fan, oh, well, that's the guy. It's like, okay, that's not an accurate representation of him as a player. Right now, your bullpen, and people forget, early in the offseason, you went out and got that minor league pitcher, like the top minor league pitcher was one of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
I think you know who I'm talking about. But the big one that I actually really, really, really liked was we signed Roansy Contreras, who's a former top prospect of the Pirates. We claimed him off waivers. Now, this could be someone I'm raving about, and then in a few weeks we sign somebody and he's DFA'd. I mean, it's possible. But I really like if he does stick around. I really like that. It was Luis Cervello, who was one of the more popular free agents just because, it's because he's in like the trader Monsieur says, he's low risk, high reward. He's been really good in the minors, hasn't really figured it out in the majors, maybe completely. Has he even gotten to the majors? No, he hasn't. That's spring training, because spring training picture. As I saw that, I went, oh, he must have played. So you've started to get some options for you in the bullpen. Obviously, I'm still hoping they re-sign Jose Leclerc.
I wonder what we're going to do with, I haven't even thought about Robertson and Yates. Like if they don't come back, which was expected.
Who's the closer?
Right. Like who's the closer?
You've got Mark Church coming through the pipeline, and maybe Rocker or Leiter makes the bullpen.
I don't think Webb is going to be
no. Neither is Contreras or Cervello. So right now you're kind of okay. We're going to sign 15 different relievers to try to, and then you sign Adrian Hauser, who was okay for the Mets in the bullpen last year. It was bad in the rotation. So you look at this and go, okay, maybe out of we sign 8 guys, we can find 3 of them that are good.
Yeah.
And then try to figure out the closer role, because we're going to need a closer. I'm inclined to either re-sign Yates or Robertson to be the closer. I mean, both were very effective, and you probably only have to go out and get one. I'd love to bring back both, but we'll just have to figure out what they do.
Yeah.
So that's the Rangers news. I cannot think of anything else the Rangers have really done that's important, but the winter meetings have been going on in Dallas, which has been kind of cool for it to be here. And there was some other news in baseball. And I'm going to tease everything else. The Veterans Committee, the Hall of Fame Veterans Committee meets certain different eras each year. They looked over a list of candidates. I hadn't talked about it, I don't think, yet, simply because I didn't know exactly when it was. It's winter meetings, but I wasn't, you know what I mean? You just kind of forget that that's coming up. And I hadn't seen anything, they've announced the candidates. And there was a few really good ones. Tommy John, Steve Garvey, Louis Tiant were some guys I thought had a chance. John Donaldson from the Negro Leagues. But they did elect 2 members. So we guaranteed, I think right now it's a 5-man class with Billy Wagner, CC Sabathia, and Ichiro being elected from the writers. And these people, these 2 guys from the Veterans Committee. The first one is the late, great Dick Allen. Was fantastic, was the MVP, I believe, in 1972 for the White Sox. Yes, I am correct in that assumption. 350 career home runs, a 292 career batting average, 1,800 career hits, a career 58.7 WAR. That means a lot. Trying to get to his fielding. Here we go. Because they didn't have RDRS back then, so we got to use total zone. And not the best fielder, but he was a slugging first baseman, third baseman, corner outfielder. And he is now, and he was one of those, came 1 vote shy on the Veterans Committee in 2015 and 1 vote shy, I think, a couple years ago, I think in 2021. So they showed his son being very exciting. His son's Dick Allen Jr. Very happy for him. There's been a lot of online push for him to finally get in the Hall of Fame. One of those, I think, on first glance, or if you watched him, probably went, no, he's pretty good. And then you go back and look at his career and go, okay, I think the guy really deserved it. And the other one was the one I really am surprised took to a Veterans Committee, and that is the Cobra, Dave Parker. His WAR is low, only 40.1. People are going to harp on that. I get that. But 2,700 career hits, 339 career home runs, a 290 career batting average. He also has an MVP, was a 7-time All-Star, 2 World Series. And I know, obviously, he was big, one of the biggest parts of the We Are Family 79 Pirates. And he was also on the 89 Oakland A's and actually had a solid year for him, hit 264 with 22 home runs. So it was a good veteran bat for them. Anyway, 3-time Gold Glove, 3-time Silver Slugger, 2-time batting champ. Just a lot of accolades.
He's got the accolades.
He's got a lot of hardware to prove why he's a Hall of Famer. And, again, one of those guys that has gotten a lot of late push. One of those funny things where you look at his total zone rating was negative 19 for the outfield. And you look at that and you go, well, he clearly wasn't that good as a fielder. One of the best arms you're ever going to see from the outfield. An absolute howitzer for a right arm. Definitely deserved it. Very happy that he's gonna. I know he's been battling Parkinson's disease for the last several years, but I'm happy to see that he's able to. He's gonna be able to give a speech. He's gonna be able to be there and enjoy it. So
awesome.
That's always exciting.
Right.
But some other big baseball news. Well, it happened. Juan Soto officially a Met. I got to give you your flowers.
I did call it. I mean,
you got it.
50% of the world as well, but
yeah,
I did say it.
With the majority of everybody saying it's either one of the New York teams or I was. He's either going back to the Yankees or he's going to Boston. Goes to the Mets. Set 50. Hold on, I got to muster up the strength to say this number. 15 years. Not 500, not 600, not even just 700. $765 million.
Mr. Cohen's showing that he has the money. Everyone knew it.
Even my dad, like when it broke, I was at his house and he was just like, Brady, I don't know. Like this is just like, because he remembers when Nolan Ryan was the first ever $1 million a year player, and it was like, holy crap, $1 million a season, whoa! And now Soto's gonna make 50 times that in a season.
I mean, I think Soto, obviously, being 25 years old or 26 and being, one of the most generational hitters maybe in the history of the game. I mean, it's not crazy to say that at the age that he's doing this. I do think it was an overpay, obviously, because, I mean, when you look at a guy like Ohtani, who obviously was a huge piece in winning the World Series in his first year, but also can bring an elite, potential Cy Young pitching arsenal to the Dodgers, and him only getting $700 million. And then you get a guy like Soto, who's obviously one of the best hitters in the world and can do whatever you need him to hit 315 with 40 home runs. He can do it. And a good arm, but just not the best defender.
Or base runner.
Soto, you paid $765 million for a bat. And as great as he is, he's not worth that anywhere near that.
He's the best two-tool player in baseball.
Yeah. I mean,
people cannot like me having to say it.
It's just hard to put words together when you think about how much money he got and what he brings to the table. Like I said, one of the best hitters in the world.
Yeah.
But that's
average fielder, decent arm.
Good arm. Good arm.
But not great range.
It's crazy. And Steve Cohen was, showing that he has the money.
I think it's just one of those things that's just. And look, I don't like it when people go, well, no athlete's worth it. I mean, well, of course. But guess what?
Oh, Tony's pretty close.
The world isn't fair, okay? And I will agree with you that teachers and more important people to society should make more money than they do. But the reality of sports is, and I hate it when a contract like this happens, when a big contract, I know like this has never happened before in the history of sports, but when a big contract like this happens, all of the little chirpers come out. When people say, is he worth the money? Well, no athlete is worth this much money. Well, of course not. You don't have to say it. We all know it. I'm the biggest sports just homer you'll ever meet. But even I'll say, no, of course these guys aren't worth the hundreds of millions of dollars when you have people that are not paid that are more important to a functioning society than an athlete. But the reality of the situation is, and I've had to tell this to multiple teachers before, your industry does not rake in billions of dollars. When your industry, when the schools can rake in billions of dollars, then you'll get paid millions. That's the reality of our economy. This is how it works. Baseball is a $1 billion industry. So, and one of the guys that is one of the biggest faces of that, shouldn't he get maybe not close to $1 billion? He's getting a lot closer to $1 billion than he should. I'm more looking at it just as a big contract. I'm not worried about the number. Because the number to me doesn't matter, because once you get to this number, I mean, my God.
But you also had to, you had to be competitive. You knew other teams were going to be offering the same amount of money or close to it. And, if you really want him, you pursue him and you give him what he wants.
We'll get to that in a second. But when it comes to, so I want to put that argument to bed. I normally don't talk about anything other than sports on here, but I'm bringing it up because I've heard the people, well, he's not worth. Well, of course not. Mahomes signed his. People said, well, he's not worth it. Well, when you can throw a football like Patrick Mahomes, you'll make the money Patrick Mahomes does. If you can have what was hold on, we got it now. I don't look at Soto's home runs last year because I mean you can pee over the right field fence in freaking Yankee Stadium.
He got 40.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because that right field fence, you could pass a kidney stone over it from home plate. I mean, it's. But when when you can get on base at a 419 average, you can get paid $765 million because he does it and he generates that much money for him. He gets paid. So I want to put that argument to bed right now. Now, so the reason I'm bringing that up is because I'm about to say he's also not worth it. But I'm not saying he's not worth it because athletes aren't worth it. I'm saying he's not worth it in just baseball sense. So that's why I did all that. Because he's not worth it in baseball sense. He's the best two-tool player in baseball. Like, if you want me as a pure player, I would say Mookie Betts, for example, is a better player than Juan Soto. Mookie Betts can play almost every position on the field. Hell, he could probably play catcher if he wanted to. He's one of the best athletes in the world. He is a five-tool player. I would say Ronald Acuna is a better player than Juan Soto. He's a five-tool player. Is this kind of old head thinking? Yes, the whole five-tool thing. Acuna is a five-tool player. He does more on a baseball field than Juan Soto does. You're right. He doesn't have maybe the power numbers or the true batting numbers, but his fielding and base running is so much better than what Soto brings. It at worst for Acuna, it evens it out, right? And like me and my dad were talking about this, and I said, Dad, if you had to have one player to start a franchise with right now today, forget contract, Ellie De La Cruz or Juan Soto, I think we both said I'd probably take Ellie. I think the potential there is just too great. And he does everything on the field. Yeah. He's probably going to be Gold Glove fielder. He's one of the best base runners I've ever seen. Great power numbers. Just needs to get that fifth tool. Just needs to get that batting average up. But batting average has been completely devalued in these days. So who cares? That's the thing, is that Soto's a great player, but I mean it's a great signing. Yeah, we looked over this. You have a great offense. Your offense is fantastic. But what I brought up when I asked you a question earlier, who's your game one starter in a playoff series right now?
Is Manaea even back yet?
Nope, he's a free agent.
And then it's all Severino.
Who is it?
I'm trying to think about who's there.
But the fact that you don't know. The fact that you don't know. Because even and me and my dad, because it broke when we were both, I said, Dad, who's your game one starter? He went, I don't know. And he follows baseball more than I do. He's able to watch more of the games than I am, right? He follows it. He would know more than I would on this. And finally, we figured it out. It's probably either David Peterson, Jose Quintana, or McGill. All three guys are decent pitchers.
I'm sure there will be another guy, including Manaea, that will come back.
I thought Crochet was going to go there. Because I thought, wow, that's a great way to get a cost-effective pitcher. Now, if money is truly no object, and you're going to have a $2 billion payroll, well, then okay, go sign Burns, go sign Fried, go sign everybody. But the fact that they didn't just go and pay Fried whatever he wanted tells me they're not going to just pay everything, which tells me they're probably not going to get Burns. I doubt it. Now, I also doubted that a lot of things I've been wrong on, but I doubt it. And we'll get to Crochet in a second. The Mets have no pitching. They've got no bullpen outside of Diaz. They got no rotation. They got no ace. They don't even have a 1 or a 2. They got nothing.
Unless they bring Manaea back.
They're going to be the 90s Rangers. Well, we're going to try to win 9-7. That's as the Rangers found out, when you go up against a better team like the Yankees that actually have pitching, you falter. So no, the Mets don't scare me. And I've already seen it, Chase. Oh, the Mets, World Series. They're not even going to sniff the World Series. They're going to come nowhere close to it unless they add pitching. Now, if they add pitching, okay, we can look at them as a World Series contender. But right now, I'd take the Dodgers over them. I'd take the Padres over them. And I guarantee, maybe, I'm trying to think of, I'd probably take the Braves fully healthy. I'd probably still take the Braves over them. Even though they did lose Fried.
Probably not for me.
But I think they have better pitching. Pitching is so important in the playoffs. You don't have to have the names. You just have to have guys that can be effective when they need to be. And I don't think even the Mets have that. Right now as they stand, they're a wild card team that's probably going to get bounced in the NLDS. The offense can carry you in a 3-game series. Offense is going to carry you in a 5-game series. Very, very difficult. Even the Rangers, whose offense was clicking on all cylinders, needed pitching. Because there's going to be games where your offense is going to be cold, right? So it's just, I don't like it from a team building perspective. Because now you've got to find pitchers, and do you have the money to do it? Anyway, the other couple big things, and I completely forgot to write this down. Willie Adames signed with the Giants, so they get a big bat for the middle of their lineup. And there was another one that happened that I don't
know if we talked about Snell going to the Dodgers.
Blake Snell to the Dodgers. So they get a big-time pitcher.
Yeah.
All these things have now been buried, I think, in baseball fans' minds just because the last, 24 hours has been absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Kyle Tucker may get traded, which is a really, really crazy one.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't expecting that one. The weirdness happened with Cleveland where they traded Andres Jimenez and then got Spencer Horwitz, but then they traded Horwitz immediately for pitching from the Pirates.
Yeah.
So the Pirates kind of got fleeced, and then the Guardians, everyone I thought they got fleeced, and then they turn around and have a great trade. So it's just one of those situations where it's just bonkers. Completely crazy, completely not expecting, as I almost dropped my pen. The tradition of every episode. But I mean, it's been crazy, man.
Just the last thing, just Crochet.
Oh, and Tiger signed. Oh, we got to get to a couple more things. Orioles signed Gary Sanchez and Tyler O'Neill.
Oh yeah. I just forgot about that. Yeah.
And then, ironically, then announced I think they're moving that left field fence back in.
Yes, they are.
And the GM on MLB Network went,
I saw that.
We just signed Tyler O'Neill and Gary Sanchez. Of course we're going to move it back in. And then the Nationals won the draft lottery. So they get number 1 overall pick, probably going to get Ethan Holiday. I loved now I can say this on here because Mark DeRosa said it on live television. Mark DeRosa said someone needs to put out a stud fee for Matt Holiday and his wife. That's like, dang, Mark. They're on live television.
Everyone's saying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And actually, Mike Rizzo said he's gotten a pick. I didn't know he was with. I think it was the Diamondbacks that picked him number 1 overall, but I didn't know he's with them. He said this would be his 4th number 1 overall pick, and the other 3. Ready for these names? Steven Strasburg, Bryce Harper, obviously because the Nationals, and people forget he's been there that long. But apparently, he was the guy that picked Justin Upton.
Okay, so
great success, number 1 overall.
Yeah.
There's your baseball news, other than, as Chase said, one more thing. The Red Sox finally get their pitcher. We knew they're going to need at least somebody, and they still may not be done. They acquired Garrett Crochet from the worst team in baseball history, as I will forever be calling them. But they gave up a haul. Do you see what they gave up?
Yeah.
They gave up Braden Montgomery, Kyle Teal, which is they're the 2 headliners, and then Chase Meidroth, and then right-hander Wickelman Gonzalez. Probably butchered the crap out of that one. Wickelman. It's a great name. Yeah, Boston gets their starter. They needed a guy that they could hitch their wagons to, and they got him. And I think Crochet's happy to be out of Chicago.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Jordan Swidler, but yeah.
I mean, he was happy actually.
Oh, they got a great haul.
He was happy with what they got.
They've got a lot of prospects, so good for them. But now we move to football. As much as I love talking about baseball, we got to move to football.
Probably the longest baseball segment we've had this semester.
Yeah. Well, you've got the winter meetings and everything's happening.
Yeah.
I would have given a Hall of Fame update, but we don't have time for it. The NCAA has announced a few things, happening. The Heisman finalists are as follows: Travis Hunter from Colorado, Ashton Jeanty from Boise State, Dylan Gabriel from Oregon, and Cam Ward from Miami. My vote's Jeanty.
I'm Jeanty too, but
I don't like this whole discourse because I don't even know what the Heisman's supposed to be. If the Heisman's supposed to be the MVP award, it's Jeanty. If the Heisman is simply supposed to be the most talented player, it's Hunter. I think it should be the MVP award for college football.
I agree.
Jeanty. there's your discourse there for this show. But the playoffs were announced, and there was one team that was not very happy with these rankings. But I have to say, they come off as whiny little you-know-whats, and I don't care what they think.
And they deserved it. We'll get into it.
In the first round, we'll get to the byes. The 4 bye teams will be the Big Ten champion Oregon Ducks, the Big 12 champion Arizona State Sun Devils. Shout out Keith Abney with the interception. Super proud of you, my man. The 2 is the Georgia Bulldogs, the SEC champs. It was a great game. And then who would have thunk it? The Mountain West champs, the Group of 5 champion gets a bye, and it's the Boise State Broncos.
Deserved.
It's great. It's awesome. The one thing I'm sad about, they don't get to host a game at the Blue Turf.
Yeah.
Because once you get into that second round, you get all the sugar bowls and the orange bowls and the toilet bowls and all that.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting. If I was Charmin, I'm just saying, marketing idea, the Charmin Soft Toilet Bowl.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Is that not a great bowl game name? Oh, and UNT is playing in the First Responder Bowl, right?
Yep.
Against
it's at
Texas State.
Gerald Ford Stadium in Dallas.
And guess what we say? Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care.
Moving on. Moving on.
We lost our wide receiver 1 and quarterback in the transfer portal.
Yeah,
so I don't. Whatever.
To be fair, though, any transfer quarterback should want to come here and rebuild their rapport.
Yeah, I mean,
Eric Morris clearly can build up quarterbacks.
I don't care.
I don't either. But in the first round, here are your first round matchups. These are very important. You've got the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. What just happened?
Just some baseball news.
Yeah.
The White Sox will have a presentation for Roki Sasaki.
I hope he goes there.
Just tweeted.
We didn't talk about Roki Sasaki.
Sorry to go off on a tangent.
I want to send him the Mariah Carey song, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Because that's all I want for Christmas. That's all I want. I just want Roki Sasaki in a Rangers uniform. And like we've talked about, when you sign him, you get him for 6 years at cost effective. You want to save money and get another pitcher? Just saying, Chase.
Yeah.
We sign Roki Sasaki. I will be doing, I don't care if I'm in church and we're in the middle of prayer. I will start doing victory laps like Kirk Gibson in the 88 World Series. Yes. Yeah, I mean, any wrestling fans out there, Daniel Bryan used to have the yes. He'd do his hands.
Yeah.
And I'll start doing that. I'll be going, yes, yes. All right, moving on back to college football.
He's a Padre.
Tennessee, quiet you. Tennessee versus Ohio State. Winner of that will go and face Oregon. You've got Clemson at Texas. Winner of that goes and faces Arizona State. Indiana, fun team, at Notre Dame. And whoever wins that will go and face Georgia. Please, Indiana. Please, I'd love to see it. And then you've got the mystery team versus Penn State. Winner of that faces Boise State. The mystery team is a team that we didn't know, that 12th team, who was going to be, who was going to be the 12th team. And unfortunately for Miami, they've fallen out.
Yeah.
So then you've got 2 teams. You've got the SMU Mustangs, runner-up in the ACC. First year in the ACC, they're runner-ups. The Pony Express may be back. They looked good. Or the whiny crybabies down in Tuscaloosa, the Alabama Crimson Tide, who are nothing but entitled little babies. So here's your choice, Chase. And the committee looks at this and goes, well, SMU's got a better record and appeared in a conference championship game. Alabama beat better teams than SMU did. The problem that I have is that the Alabama argument was, well, if you don't vote us in, then non-conference wins don't matter. When you played teams like Mercer this year, don't tell me it does. Screw you. But also, you didn't lose non-conference games. You lost in conference games that you play almost every year, or teams that you play almost every year. Quit whining.
Except for the 6 and 6, whatever it was, 5 and 6 Oklahoma Sooners.
They're in the SEC.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They haven't played them obviously before because of.
They're SEC teams.
Right, I know. Yeah.
If your argument is, well, we lost to SEC teams, they lost to ACC teams, then that means we're better than them. It's a horrible argument. You lost 3 games. You're out. Sorry. Bye.
Yeah, and you lost to Oklahoma. I mean,
we knew this going into the 12-team format. The SEC is going to be them probably eating each other because it's going to be dog eat dog because Ole Miss and Alabama were probably worthy teams, but you lost too many in conference. You lost too many games. I have no sympathy for you. You lost 3 games. SMU lost 1 game, right? Or was it 2 games? They go 10-2.
They went 10-2 because they lost to BYU
and
in a close one when BYU was the 9th ranked team in the country at the time, and then they lost in a very good game when they played very bad in the first half to Clemson. So
okay, 10-2. No, did they lose in the regular season to Clemson?
No, in the ACC championship.
Well, no, I know that, but what did they go in the regular season?
Oh, well, they lost 1 game.
So they were 11-1.
Yeah.
So they were 11-1. So 11-1 versus 9-3 should not be a difficult decision. But also, the Alabama argument, and I hate this. Well, they lost to BYU. BYU isn't that good. They were frauds. Not at the time they beat them. I hate this in college football. When you do the rankings, you go back and look, oh, well, they lost that game. They were ranked number 5. No, screw that. That's still a ranked loss. That's still a highly ranked loss. That should still matter. You know what I mean? Quit looking at it from the end of the season perspective. Look at it where was BYU when they lost to them? They were a really, really good team. That's just how college football is. Yeah, Alabama deserved it. Well, and of course, they're throwing fits. Well, we're just never going to schedule good non-conference games ever again. Go ahead. It doesn't matter. You lost 3 SEC games. You keep doing that, you'll keep not getting in. I agree with the format. I agree with SMU getting in. If you didn't know, SMU 100%. Got in. I agree with it. It's what I thought should have happened. I would have been pissed if it didn't happen. It would
have been clear bias towards Alabama if they didn't get in.
It'd been awful. And SMU's probably going to lose. Yeah, they might. But so probably would you. Could you?
Who cares if they would? I mean, listen, if you bring up the Florida State argument from last year, when they had a perfect season, they're the first team ever to win a Power 5 conference and
be perfect
and not make the 4-team playoff because you lost Jordan Travis, so therefore you didn't think they're going to be competitive. So maybe that's where Bama's coming across and saying like, well, they're the ACC team who lost to Clemson, who's going to be playing Penn State, so they're going to get killed. So maybe we should be in because we're stand a better chance.
But Chase, remind me, who benefited from Florida State not getting in last year?
Yeah, Alabama.
No, yep.
Alabama.
It was Alabama. They were the ones last year saying, "Oh no, Florida State shouldn't get in. We should get in." They get in, and they lose to Michigan. So you have no legs to stand on, Alabama, to say, well, SMU might lose. You're right, they might lose. They also might win. That's the thing of sports. There's going to be a winner and a loser. It could be SMU, or SMU is going to be one of them. You're not. You're not playing. You went in last year. You lost. So that argument means nothing to me now because your team benefited from the committee doing something last year, and then you lost the game. So if you're going to try to say, well, SMU shouldn't get in because they're probably going to lose, that's one of the worst arguments I've ever heard in my life for anything in sports. Well, they might lose. Well, yeah, they might lose. They might win. It's possible. You got 4 quarters to figure it out, who the winner is. And the winner is going to be whoever scored more points. What happened?
I'm just interested to see like what the spread is for that game. Because
I hate it.
If you think about
stupid.
it, like, I mean, if you end up put money on like Penn State winning by 30, I mean, I think you could. They very well could. So I'm just interested.
But SMU can hang with them. They're maybe pissed about this narrative that they suck.
I'm just interested to see what they have them opened up at. Just because I'm curious. I don't know what. I don't know how they match up versus them. I mean, I think Penn State might kill them.
Anyway,
but
moving on from college football.
Yeah.
The NFL. Hook 'em. We agree. Okay, I'm hook 'em, but also go Ohio State. Shout out to Calvin Simpson-Hunt. Go Arizona State. Shout out to Keith Abney. And go SMU. Shout out to Jalen Davis-Robinson.
Penn State is favored by 8.5.
Okay.
So that's respectable for SMU. That's respectable.
Moving on to the NFL. Not even going to look at Week 14. Cowboys lost. Yippee. Rams at 49ers. Well, I mean, what do you want me to say, Chase?
Nothing. I'm happy. I'm with you.
I know you're happy, but Amani Oruwariye is not happy.
No, I understand.
Okay. As long as you understand, we're good.
I understand.
If you were like, well, he should be happy he lost, well, no, because he may lose his job.
It might jeopardize his job, but as a fan and a fan who wants our team to lose for better draft position, I'm happy.
Moving on. Rams at 49ers. Chase, who you got?
Give me the Rams.
That's who I'm taking. Gosh dang, why can't you disagree with me?
Trent Williams just ruled out too.
So. Cowboys at Panthers. I think we're both taking Panthers.
I'm taking the Panthers, man. The first time favored in a game since 2022.
I don't trust Cooper Rush. I don't trust Mike McCarthy. I don't trust anybody on our team. I'm also losing DeMarvion Overshone. Yay!
Yeah, I think we got to talk about that real quickly.
By the way, can we keep a linebacker healthy?
Yeah.
Sean Lee, Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, and now DeMarvion Overshone. We are officially cursed. Sorry for your hook'em horns.
Yeah.
Very sad. The thing is, he's such an athletic freak.
He's so good. He was our best defensive player this year.
And we've made such strides in medical. I lost the word there. Medical advancement. He probably is going to come back stronger and better because he's just a freak athlete. Chiefs at Browns.
Chiefs.
Luckiest freaking team I've ever seen in my life.
I really want to take the Browns, too.
Dolphins at Texans. Good game.
It is a good game. Must win for the Dolphins.
Yep.
Give me the Texans.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's tough. I'm not going to be shocked if the Dolphins win that
Jets at Jaguars. Such a bad game.
Jets.
Yeah, that's who I'm taking. Commanders at Saints.
Commanders.
I agree. Ravens at Giants.
Ravens.
Yep, I'm already on there. Bengals at Titans.
Bengals.
Yep. Bills at Lions.
I know you're taking the Lions. I'm going to try to help you out here. Give me the Bills.
Okay.
Give me
the
the
Bills freaking win.
Give me the Bills. Give me the Bills.
I only didn't take the Bills because on the road.
Give me the Bills.
Steelers at Eagles.
I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm going to take Philly, but I think it's going to be a good one.
I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I think that defense is going to make Jalen Hurts see ghosts.
Okay.
Colts at Broncos. You're taking. I know who you love.
Broncos.
You love the Broncos. Buccaneers at Chargers.
Ooh. Give me the Bucks.
Okay, I'm taking Chargers. I love this Jim Harbaugh team. Packers at Seahawks.
Packers.
I'm taking Seahawks. We got a lot of disagreements on this week. I just like Seahawks at home. I've been a fan of this team this entire year. Bears at Vikings.
Vikings.
Yep. And then Falcons at Raiders.
Falcons.
So 4 disagreements on the schedule for us this week.
Okay.
So got a chance to really. You're up 8 right now, so I got a chance to cut it in half. That'd be so clutch. Oh, please, it'd be great.
I'm fully expecting the Lions to win this game.
Watch the Bills win.
I just want the Bills to win. I want the Bills to win that game.
Why?
I don't know.
You like the Bills team?
I don't know. I'm talking about just for the fact that we're disagreeing. That's why I want them to win.
Okay.
I probably would have gone Lions if it was closer.
We'll see what happens. All right, we will maybe see you guys next week. I don't anticipate it, but if not, we will then catch up back with you. Let me get my calendar out. Again, I don't even know if the studio is open. That's the problem. I don't have a way to record at my house, so there's a chance that it's a while. And actually Christmas is in 2 weeks, so it would be until the 1st, and that won't happen because that's going to be college football playoffs and stuff. So I don't anticipate being back here until January 8th. So we will see you guys next year.
Everybody have a Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, everything.
Say Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
When is Kwanzaa? I don't know.
Kwanzaa, I don't know.
Kwanzaa around the same time? Happy holidays.
Happy everything for everybody. We're an all-inclusive show here, Chase.
Of course.
See you guys next year.